going on, everybody, and welcome back to Off the Shelves. Sorry for the little hiatus I took for last month. Kind of slipped through the cracks, and this month it's been doing the same thing so far, but I wanted to get it out. Had a lot of people commenting, and this might be the biggest episode of Off the Shelves I've ever done. I'm not sure. It's going to be close because I have a lot of shit to show off. So I guess we'll just go ahead and cut right to the chase. We'll start off with new releases. Not really in any particular order. I got 3 stacks of movies here. I've got new releases, I've got 4K, and then I have older films that I've bought. So we'll start off with new releases. Like I said, no particular order. This is The Curse of La Llorona. This was, unknowingly to a lot of people because they didn't market it that way, part of the Conjuring universe. Decent enough. It's got the same bag of tricks that all of the Conjuring movies does. Like I've said in I think, my review of The Nun, or possibly for Annabelle Comes Home. The James Wan ones, the Conjuring 1 and 2 are the best. The rest of them feel like movies that somebody's trying to direct, like James Wan. A couple of them have been really good. I loved Annabelle Creation. This one, decent. If you like jump scare horror, it'll fit the bill for that. Nothing that you need to run out and buy. I would say see it on, stream it, see it online. Yesterday, this was one that I wanted to see in the theaters because I'm not necessarily a big Beatles fan. I do like some of their songs, but the story is what kind of drew me in the trailer. About a guy who, the Beatles have not existed, and he's trying to bring the Beatles music to the world. And I really like the message and where they went with that storyline. I was actually talking with Woody Bowen, the guy that does the designs for my t-shirts. I was talking with him about this movie beforehand and watching it, and he was kind of giving me hints of what he liked about the movie. And everything that he liked was what I ended up liking as far as the message about just getting art out there. So I really enjoyed this. I would say go out and buy it, especially if you're a Beatles fan. Don't expect it to be a Beatles movie. It's just a movie that has Beatles music in it that tells a totally different story. I think that's where a lot of people had a disconnect with it. But I enjoyed it. You had one of the movies that actually slipped onto my top 10 most anticipated of the year, and that is Shaft, because I love the first movie with Samuel L. Jackson. And this is nothing like that, unfortunately. It was titled Son of Shaft back when I put it on my list, and it got titled down to Shaft. It's about his son coming into this, cop world and wanting to solve a murder, basically, and you get 3 generations of Shaft. You got Richard Roundtree, who was the original Shaft, you get Samuel Jackson, and you get this new guy. And the tone of this movie is just wrong. It's mostly goofy comedy. There's a couple of action sequences here and there. It's full-on like rated R, Samuel L. Jackson, which is entertaining in and of itself. But if they had kept the serious cop tone that the first movie had, the one with Christian Bale, that would have been a great sequel. This just, there's no point in having this movie in nowadays. It just doesn't fit anywhere. It doesn't fit for Shaft fans, and it doesn't fit for action movie fans. It just feels dated all around, so. It's entertaining enough for like a decent watch online, so it's squeezing by with a see it, a stream it, but it's borderline on skip it. So it's entertaining enough, but a huge step down from the first Shaft, which really sucked. Avengers Endgame. Still my #1 movie of the year, actually, which is surprising to me because I'm usually not a #1 movie of the year being a Marvel type of guy. But I loved this. This is the 4K Steelbook from Best Buy. Rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, right before I went on a trip to Atlanta, and I loved it just the same as I did in the theaters. It's just a great culmination of the past 10 years. This is absolutely a go out and buy it, and the 4K looks awesome. So loved that movie. This one I haven't got a chance to watch yet. I got this out of curiosity, Batman Hush. I have read the storyline of Hush, so I wanted to see how it gets translated. A lot of the DC animated stuff ends up being pretty good, so don't have a rating for this one, so let me know if you've seen it down below. John Wick 3 Parabellum. This is also one of the Best Buy Steelbooks. It's got the little cross in the back. I like this movie. I really like the trilogy overall. I thought the first 2 movies are damn near flawless action films. They certainly deliver what they are trying to deliver. And this one to me just fell a little bit short of that. I enjoyed it, but it went a little bit too over the top with how much he's able to survive. I didn't think that the middle part of the movie was anywhere near as entertaining as the bookend first and third act. So I really liked this movie. I would say go out and buy it, but to me, it's definitely the weakest of the 3. Moving on from that was actually a pretty big surprise this year, and that is Spider-Man Far From Home. I just rewatched this one with my kids yesterday and still really enjoyed this. I was not the biggest fan of Spider-Man Homecoming. I enjoyed it, but to me it was a big step down from what I love, and that's the Raimi Trilogy. I even love the third one, so it didn't quite deliver what I wanted from a Spider-Man movie, and from the trailers I thought this was delivering more of what I didn't care for in Homecoming, but I actually really enjoyed this one. I liked Mysterio and how they utilized him in the story and Jake Gyllenhaal in that role. I thought that the Spider-Man and the high school side of Spider-Man was a lot more entertaining this time around. Even his friends were a little more entertaining. I loved the whole thing with Happy and Aunt May. So I actually quite enjoyed this one. This one to me is the best one since the Raimi films. So this one is definitely go out and buy it. Was a big surprise this year. Oh, here we go. Get the comment section ready. I almost did not buy this. I actually was almost not going to buy it just to make a point. But I found myself in Walmart yesterday, actually. I bought this one and the one next to it. And I decided that I want to give it another shot and see if a second viewing might change my mind. And I definitely want to see what Holly thinks about it. And that is Midsummer. And probably a lot of this is going to get green screened out. But Midsummer, this was a big hyped up movie this year. It's the same director as Hereditary, which was the movie that made a huge splash in the horror community last year. Big expectations on this one. A lot of people loved it. I was not one of them. I found it incredibly long, incredibly slow and boring, and I felt like it wore its themes and everything on its sleeve to the point where there was nothing really to figure out or pick apart or try to put a puzzle piece together like Hereditary was, where there was so many things you could discuss and try to figure out, and rewatches were required. This, to me, said everything it needed to said, and it was very telegraphed in all of the foreshadowing. Foreshadowing that's done well tends to give you hints about where things are going. This, to me, told me straight up where this movie was leading certain characters. So my rating for it as of this moment is to stream it, because I have a lot of issues with it. I think it's a very quality made movie, very professionally directed, and the guy definitely still has my attention. I will watch his third film opening night. And for that reason, I recommend you checking it out, because a lot of people seem to really like it. I just didn't care for the story in this one. It didn't do anything for me, but I'll give it a fair shake, give it a second watch, and see if maybe that rating comes up or stays the same. So we will see. Cue all the comments calling me a hypocrite. Anyway, heading right along down that same road, Annabelle Comes Home. Again, this was a movie that I had very low expectations for walking into it. It's a full-on jump scare fest. I like the haunted house aspect of it. I like the fact that the Warrens were involved. And there's some good production value here, but to me it was just jump scare city. Over and over and over again, the same telegraphed jump scares. But I still enjoy these Conjuring universe films enough to check them out and enough to purchase them. Still haven't purchased The Nun though, didn't care for that one. But I wanted to give it a second watch. My kids really like these types of movies. Holly really likes these types of movies, so I bought it more so because I know that they're going to enjoy it, and I won't mind watching this on like a Conjuring marathon in, October Halloween season. So I will say stream that one. Oh, the Big Daddy, Child's Play. Interesting enough, this took fucking forever for me to get a hold of, because I don't get a whole lot of time to go to stores physically and buy stuff. I do a lot of online shopping. I pre-ordered it actually from Best Buy, and for whatever fucking reason, Best Buy back ordered it or delayed it. So it was like a week after release and I still hadn't had my Blu-ray shipped to me. So I canceled that order and ordered it from Amazon, and finally got the damn thing, and it had a gigantic ass gouge right here in the slipcover, which I can't stand. So, fuck you. But anyway, Child's Play, easily my most anticipated movie this year. I'm a Chucky fanatic, you guys know this. If you're a new subscriber, hey, Chucky fan. I had big expectations for this movie because I was actually a believer in it. I did a lot of videos leading up to it about why this could be a good thing, why it's not a negative thing towards the franchise or the fans or the character of Chucky. And I like the approach that they were taking of really changing things up for this remake. And this delivered on, I'll say 85-90% of my expectations. I really enjoyed it. I thought that the new version of Chucky was a very interesting take on the character. I loved the relationship between Andy and Chucky. I thought that a lot of the kills were great. Some of the best of the series, honestly. If you watch my kill ranking, you'll find that out. Where it hits the negatives is the design of the doll is garbage, and I will never falter from that. It's not distracting enough to me where I can't enjoy the movie, because as soon as I kind of accepted it for what it was, I went along with the movie fine. But there's no excuse for the doll looking like that. It's a big negative. Some of the story aspects, like the very beginning, the opening about how Chucky gets tampered with, a little bit weak. And I didn't think Andy's friends were all that great at all. But I still really enjoyed this movie. It might still be my favorite horror movie by the end of the year. I'm not sure. We still got Dr. Sleep coming, and I think one or two more surprises. It's this or it's Haunt. Haunt was actually a big surprise, but I really enjoyed this one. This one's a go out and buy it all day long. So give it a shot, people. Be open-minded. Rocket Band! I really wanted to check this out because I heard so many people comparing this to Bohemian Rhapsody, saying that this buries Bohemian Rhapsody, or this is the movie Bohemian Rhapsody should have been. I loved Bohemian Rhapsody. That was one of my favorite films last year. I liked this one. This one wasn't 100% for me. They take a very unique direction, which I appreciate. They're taking this kind of typical biopic formula, and they kind of mix it with like a fantasy musical to where people just kind of break out and dance and sing Elton John songs, and it's got a very fantastical element to it. Very cool, very unique. Doesn't necessarily land for me so much because I'm not a big musical guy, but I like this. The performances are really good. The music is great, obviously. Directed very well. It is a must-see movie, especially if you're an Elton John fan and you like biopics. And if you like musicals, I would say that. Just didn't quite land for me the way that some other biopics have. So I enjoyed it. I'm still gonna give it a go out and buy it, but this isn't even coming into my top 15 of the year, I don't think. So liked it for what it was. Didn't blow my socks off. Then you got this thing, Brightburn. This was one of my most anticipated movies as well, and I actually avoided all trailers because the concept alone sounded so awesome to me, I didn't want to see anything in the trailers. And getting right into the negatives, even not seeing the trailers, I knew exactly where this movie was going the entire time. It was no surprises whatsoever. Anything that you assume they're going to do with this concept, they do that and they don't do anything else. So getting that out of the way as the main negative, as well as the fact that the main character, I forget his name, but anyway, the main character, Brandon Breyer, that's his name, is unlikable immediately to where like you don't have any kind of complicated feelings towards him where you feel him getting pulled back to the light or there's some complication there. No, he's just the evil little shit from the beginning and you don't like him. I know that's kind of intended, but it just didn't make it for a very enjoyable watch to check out this character. But it's a cool concept. If you like horror, if you like Superman, it is an interesting little mishmash of those two genres going into it. I think that Elizabeth Banks was great as the mother. I'd like to see her do more things like that. And for the low budget that they had, the production value is really nice. So I actually do like this movie. It just fell way short of its potential in my opinion. Maybe they can fix that with a sequel if they decide to do one. But I will say stream this one. Now that's all for the new releases. Now we'll move into the 4K double dips because I'm a whore and I gotta rebuy shit. Casino. This is the Best Buy 4K Steelbook, which is actually a pretty sexy ass steelbook if you ask me. I really like Casino. I need to rewatch it. I've only seen Casino once. It's a very long movie. I'm a Goodfellas guy. Usually you're split into two. You're either a Goodfellas guy or a Casino guy. I'm a Goodfellas guy. I like this. It's Martin Scorsese. It's Joe Pesci. It's Robert De Niro. I mean, can you say anything more? It's a must-watch type of movie. It just doesn't land as classic as me as Goodfellas. So it's definitely go out and buy it, especially for the 4K because it was a cheap-ass price for a 4K and such a great steelbook. But I'm much more of a Goodfellas guy, so that's my review. Need to rewatch it. Another movie that I think I've bought at least twice and still have not had the time to sit down and watch it. That's Apocalypse Now. This is the 4K little set that came out. It was at Walmart. It was the final cut. So I'm trying to gather some classic war movies that I have not seen yet because there's a lot of them. That's probably my most unexplored genre. And this is one that everybody always hails as one of, if not the best. So I wanted to check this one out, but I don't have a rating for you, but it's got a really badass cover. One of my favorite King adaptations, Stand By Me, came to 4K. I absolutely love this movie. One of my favorites of all time. It's a Stephen King movie that's a coming-of-age film. I love the 80s and or not the 80s, the 50s, I believe. Throwback kind of feel to it. I love all of the characters and the young kids that brought it to life. I even like the bullies where you get Kiefer Sutherland and everything. It's just such a great story. Can't talk about this one enough. Can't wait to rewatch it now that I got the 4K. So Stand By Me is absolutely go out and buy it. This is one that had very impeccable timing. Rambo, the fourth Rambo film on 4K. You guys know I just did my Rambo review series leading up to Last Blood, and I tried to pace myself with them, and I ended up pacing it perfectly because this came out right on like the day or the day before that I was getting ready to watch and review the fourth film, because the first three came out in the Steelbook or a 4K last year sometime, or very early this year possibly. But this one was not, and they had just released it right in time for me to review it, so it was cool being able to watch the movie in 4K. Go out and buy it, because I really like the fourth movie. Violent as hell, kind of a tough watch in spots, but it's Rambo at its most like kick-ass, gore-filled sense. So really like that one. Gremlins, don't feed them after midnight. 4K Steelbook from Best Buy. I have always loved Gremlins. I actually am surprised they have not remade this movie yet, and much like Child's Play, I think if they keep the practical effects, they might be able to do something cool with it. But this is a classic. It's a nice classic because it's a Christmas movie, and it has a horror edge, but it's a very family film. So it kind of fits all genres. Kids can watch it and like it. Adults can get a little bit more adult edge to it from the horror. It's a classic, so go out and buy this one. Oh, here's a story for you. Zombieland. Zombieland. So the same exact day that I got my fucked up Child's Play slipcover, I actually ordered the 4K Steelbook from Best Buy. This one actually got shipped, of Zombieland. Got it in the mail. I don't know if you can see it, but it's dented all to shit. And, hi, that's fun. So I had to order it twice, and I'm gonna have to take this back to Best Buy and get my money back. This one actually came in pristine, but yeah, I can deal with a little tear in the slipcover, but go fuck yourself, Best Buy. So Zombieland now, let's talk about the actual movie. I will have a review for this film coming this week leading up to Zombieland 2. So you're gonna get much more in-depth thoughts, but I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but I really enjoyed it when I first watched it. I thought it was very stylistically different from a lot of zombies, especially horror comedy zombies like Shaun of the Dead. I loved the characters, loved the soundtrack, Metallica. Really enjoyed this film. The cameo by Bill Murray was great, so I thought it was a great mix of horror and a little bit serious, but a lot of comedy that genuinely landed, so I would say go out and buy this one. But keep your eyes peeled for that review. One of the biggest releases this month is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining on 4K, and this is the Best Buy Steelbook. I haven't even opened it yet because it just came yesterday. But this is an absolute classic. I almost wish I could re-review it because there's some things about it. It's one of those movies where I watch it and there's some things that bug me, and then I watch it again and I'm like, no, that doesn't bug me at all. It's genius. So I gave it like 4 out of 5. This is like a 5 out of 5 movie for me. So I don't know. It's one of those movies that I love it to death, and then when I start over-analyzing it, some things stick out. I still don't really love Shelley Duvall's performance at the end, but when you read the story behind it, there's something that's kind of brilliant about it. I don't know, it's complicated, but this is a horror classic. This is a must-own, and I wanted to check it out on 4K and see how much better it looks. So can't wait for Dr. Sleep, and this is absolutely a go-out-and-buy-it film. Pan's Labyrinth, still have not seen this one, so I picked up the 4K. I saw it in Best Buy today, actually, and picked this one up. It's hailed as Guillermo del Toro's Magnus Opus. This is his best film from everybody's perspective for the most part, so I want to check this one out. No rating for it, though. I can show you the 4K. Aladdin. I absolutely love the original Aladdin. It's one of my favorite Disney films, and this was, like, a lot of people loved Lion King that grew up in my era. This was actually my favorite of like the Renaissance Disney films. So wanted to check out the 4K, watched it with my kids the week that I got it. It looks great in 4K, great movie to revisit. That's absolutely a go out and buy it all day long. And now, let's see, can I show all these? I'll show all of these at once. So Disney's been trickling out 4Ks for their Marvel series. So this is the 3 Iron Man films and the 2 Thor films. So I picked up all of those the same week that Avengers came out. I don't know if I need to rate all of these anyway, but also Thor: The Dark World's to stream it. The first Thor's go out and buy it. Iron Man and Iron Man 3 are go out and buy it. Iron Man 2 is stream it. So Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World are my 2 least favorite Marvel films, and I still think that they're watchable and they're worth the stream it. So I wanted to get the 4K for those because I think short of Ant-Man and maybe the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I have all the 4Ks now. So that's just me being a collectionist bitch. But anyway, moving on from all these, now we have the final stack, and these are just older movies that I have picked up either through a steel book that looked good, or there's like 1 or 2 Shout Factory or Arrow releases in here. Starting off with the Goonies, which has a little dent in it. God damn, Best Buy, what the fuck? Goonies, one of my childhood favorites, a movie that is always timeless. Can't really say much more about it than that. It's a must watch. Why is my nose itching so fucking much? If I touch my nose in my videos, guys, I'm not picking it, I promise. This shit starts to itch the more that I talk. But anyway, Goonies, Never Say Die. It's even that on the back. The steelbook looked awesome. I already own this film, but I was in Best Buy. I felt like splurging, so I got a couple of these steelbooks. One of my favorite childhood, like, coming-of-age movies. It's got a treasure hunt aspect to it. Absolute blast. If you haven't seen it, what the hell are you doing with your life? Go out and buy it, damn it. Stephen King's It. I still love this. I acknowledge all the flaws of it, especially in the second half, but Tim Curry haunted my dreams, and he was one of the only characters to be able to do it. This steelbook I thought looked pretty awesome, so when I picked up the Goonies, I picked up this one. This, overall, I will say stream it. I think that the first half is a go out and buy it. I think that the second half is a stream it, and they meet in the middle. And overall package, I will say stream this one. So if you haven't seen it, it's going to be really dated for you, but if you grew up with it, you know the appeal that it had and the impact that it had. The Exorcist steelbook, extended director's cut. I actually own The Exorcist, but it was like a foreign release that I had to get because all the American ones were like really overpriced. I don't know why, but this one came from Best Buy, and I like the steelbook cover. I like the red tint that it has to it. So this is a horror film that I have not watched since I was a kid. Didn't really hit me the way that it hit everybody else when I was a kid. It didn't terrify me at all, so I haven't really had the desire to go back, but I want to check this out as an adult and see it through my new eyes. So that's probably a movie that I will eventually review on this channel for sure, and I'll be watching that one. Another review series that I've been doing, if you've been paying attention, is the Psycho series, and I had to buy the remake to be able to watch it. So this is the Psycho remake, the 1998 one. Not as terrible as a lot of people make it out to be. It's definitely not, it has no point in existing. I will never watch this one over the original. There are some performances in this that I like a little bit more, though. I like William H. Macy, I like Julianne Moore, I like their versions of their characters more. There's some aspects of it that I can appreciate. Overall, it's a very, I'll skip it. I'll just say skip it. I was gonna say it's a very low stream it just to check out the different aspects, but I'm just gonna recommend you watch the original, so skip this one altogether. John Carpenter's Vampires. One of my favorite John Carpenter films, actually. A lot of people say In the Mouth of Madness was his last great film. I would say Vampires. It's a very cool Western-style, action-centric film where you got James Woods as the leader of this vampire hunter clan, and then you have the bad guy from Karate Kid Part 3 that comes in as like the head vampire, and he lays waste to his entire team, and James Woods and one of the Baldwin brothers are the only ones left that have to take him down before he's able to become a daywalker. So very cool movie, very gory, very cool score to it. Obviously it's Carpenter, very cool style to it. I highly recommend this one. This is a Shout Factory, Scream Factory release, so check this one out if you have not. I know people don't talk about it as highly as a lot of his other works. I think that it is damn close to being up there. I think it's in my top 5, so if you trusted me whatsoever, check out Vampires. Go out and buy it. This is one I haven't seen yet, but it's a horror classic everybody talks about. It was an Arrow release, Alice, Sweet Alice, so I don't have a review for it. I really don't even know what the story is. I just see this all the time on countdowns, like the Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments and everything, so I've always been curious about it. Figured, why not? New release, better pick it up. A series of movies that I'm going to try my damnedest to review this October, but they are probably going to be pushed to November. I can go ahead and warn you now. That is the Re-Animator series, and I watched the first one, and without giving my review away, was genuinely pissed that I had not watched that movie earlier on in life. So I picked up Bride of Re-Animator. I still need to pick up Beyond Re-Animator, but I picked this one up in preparation for a review series. It's probably going to be delayed, so I don't have a review for that because I haven't seen it yet. This is one that, hot take, is one of the best movies that I've ever seen, and it took me way too long to see it, and that is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't know what it was. I kind of got onto this Jack Nicholson kick, and I have one more film here, that I wanted to check out some of his best hailed roles, and I still don't know why. He didn't have anything new come out. It just, for whatever reason, I got that itch. That's the movie fan itch for you. So I picked up this, I picked up the next one, which I'll go ahead and show here. Chinatown, which I have not seen this yet, so I have no review for this, so I'll go ahead and set this over here, but I know that everybody talks about that one and its twist endings. But this one was just such a great, enjoyable drama. I would say it's a feel-good movie, but it ends on kind of a downer. A little bit of an uplifting note, but it ends on a downer. But this one to me was just so great. I know it's hailed as one of the best movies ever. It's in the top 100 of IMDb. It's won Oscars out the ass. So, I mean, this is nothing new that I'm telling you, but if you have not had a chance to check this out yet, believe it. It still holds up, and it's just a great movie to check out. So go out and buy that one. Was so glad that I finally saw that one. Two more. Pacino, Sea of Love. This actually was on like Amazon Prime or something like that one random night, and I threw it on for me and Holly to watch because I remember watching this as a teenager. My dad always loved this movie. And it's a really good cop thriller, like a murder mystery with Al Pacino. One of his more underrated movies, I would say. So I looked to see if it was on Blu-ray, and they did have one, so I picked it up. So I would say go out and buy this one. It's where there's somebody who's murdering men, and it appears to be a woman who's kind of seducing them. And so he starts looking at all these women in this area that fit the description and ends up having a little bit of a hot, passionate romance with Ellen Barkin, who is his main suspect. So it's one of those movies where he likes her a lot, enjoys fucking her, but thinks she's a murderer. So it's a good movie. Check it out. And the last one, which I bought after seeing Joker, because I have not seen this film and I'm not quite ready for like things like The Master or anything like that yet, I picked up Walk the Line. I'm not a Johnny Cash fan necessarily. I've never really liked his music. I get his appeal, and I respect the fact that he's like one of those rebels of his genre, but never really been a fan of his music, so I didn't have a reason to watch this when it came out, but I've always heard it's really good, and I do like biopics like I was talking about with Rocket Man, so I wanted to give this a shot finally. Don't have a review for it, but wanted to pick it up and finally check this thing out because I was on a bit of a Joaquin Phoenix kick walking out of Joker. That's everything, guys. I don't know if this is the biggest episode I've ever done or not, but it certainly feels like it. So the movies down here that I did not give you a rating for, let me know down in the comment section what you think of it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you are not already a subscriber. If you guys want to check out some social media links, look down in the video description below for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my Patreon page, which is a great way to give back to this channel, help this channel grow, and get cool exclusive content for your eyes only if you decide to become a patron. Just below that is my Teespring store, which is my shelf for all of my merchandise, all designed by Woody Bowen, and a lot of different things down there. There's shirts, there's bags, there's wall tapestries, pillows, all kinds of things that you can throw these really badass logos on. I got 31 on 31 logos down there to get you ready for this Halloween. I've got the Autop Stream logo down there, so get some of that shit, please. And show me pictures, like send me some pictures on social media showing me that you got a shirt or something like that so that I can put it in a future stream on Autop Stream or put it in 31 on 31. I'd like to do that. Please let me know if you do get any of that stuff. But beyond that, if you want to check out some more of my videos, including past episodes of Off the Shelves or reviews or rankings that is all throughout this channel, you can check those out by clicking right over here.